38. I don't know, we're not sure which house he was living in.
Okay, we'll call this meeting to order. Start out with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would it be possible for our guests to put on masks as well? We appreciate that. Roll call, please.
President Riggs.
Here.
President Riggs advises here. Treasurer McBride.
Here.
Treasurer McBride advises here. Secretary Fox is here. Trustee Fairchild.
Here.
Trustee Fairchild is here. Trustee Ramadka
He
is
can't-
absent. Also present is Chief Archie.
Thank you. Because we're going to largely go into closed session, we put the member and public comment first, so I would entertain comments at this point in time. Yes, sir.
I'm gonna take my mask off so I can speak, is that a problem?
No, just identify your name for the recording, please.
My name is Kirk Allen. I want to go over a couple things, Mr. Riggs, some of these directly on point with your interview with the state police. You stated that no one brought up that there would be a conflict of interest if Archer was appointed chief. I direct your attention to your email to your attorney, May 16th, 2018. You said John is half owner of a related business, AEC Fire Safety Equipment, so we'll need to be very careful with purchasing. Why would you need to be careful of purchasing? Because there was a conflict of interest. So to tell the state police that you weren't aware of it, that's doesn't seem very truthful. You told them the first time this was brought up was by Mr. Fairchild in a board meeting March 11th of 2020. Well, I would encourage you to release the recording of that meeting and let's see what was brought up and release the recordings of prior meetings and see what was brought up. Because the paper trail shows that this conflict was known about long before. And in fact, your attorney told you you are correct, that great care will have to be taken to avoid violation of Section 4 of the Fire Protection District. I trust that everyone is aware that John's company will effectively be precluded from doing any business with the district. The exceptions to this rule are extremely limited and great care must be taken not to violate the prohibition. If there are any questions about this, let me know. Mr. Riggs, that was to you, May 17th, 2018. Did you share that with the rest of the board? I'm going to assume none of the board members saw that communication that said you shouldn't be doing what you're doing. You have to be careful. Read Section 4. I just want to make sure you're hearing me. You are hearing me, correct? Board President?
Yeah, you're repeating the same stuff you talked about in December.
No, actually, these are your investigative reports from the state police. I haven't talked about these in the meeting. The captains get competitive bids before making purchases. Glad to see that. We asked for those bids. 3 years worth of bids. Didn't have any, other than one for a medical defibrillator, as I recall. To your knowledge, no one brought up a concern about the fire department spending with AEC prior to 2020 meeting. Your own email shows you brought it up. You said that you typically get 3 bids. No, that's what I raised in my talking points where your own policy talked about the number of bids you're going to get. You don't typically get 3 bids. If you do, please produce them. You said AEC usually has the best price. Well, what's that based on? Because I know the research I did, I got best prices. Some of them were better with AEC and some of them weren't. So that's not exactly an honest statement either. You never felt like it was a conflict of interest that Archer owned AEC. And why did you send a letter to your attorney stating something quite to the contrary? You said you think AEC has the best price that they could get. Again, you think, but you didn't verify anything. The most interesting one here, and this is a straight up lie in my opinion. Attorney James Sinclair made Riggs aware that they had been violating the Fire Protection District Act. That's all you told him. When did he tell you that, sir? Not once, but twice. Long before it ever came up in any meeting here. Long before Trustee Fairchild ever brought it up. So you hadn't exactly been straightforward. Now, in AEC's defense, if you read the law, he can still do business with the department. There's a threshold limit, and that's what your attorney advised. He could do $1,000 on any one order, and not to exceed $2,000 in a year. He's not forbid from doing business. On to the report that the chief in his investigation with the state, or interview with the state police. Sinclair recommended they say it was an oversight and stop business with AEC moving forward. An oversight. How's it an oversight when you're notified by your attorney on 2 different occasions? It's an oversight because Mr. Riggs, the board president, didn't share it with the rest of the trustees. Had he shared it with the rest of the trustees, none of this would have ever come to play. But he didn't do that. The nearest fire equipment stores are in Peoria, St. Louis, and Chicago. Well, maybe I missed something, but Max Fire and Safety is still down in Litchfield. That's what, 40 miles away? Your chief's aware of the fire protection district, but is not aware of the financial thresholds dealing with conflicts of interest. Well, Mr. Riggs, as board president, you were notified of Section 4. You think you might have some due diligence and fiduciary responsibility to go read Section 4? You could have prevented all of this. Chief says that no one had mentioned this was a violation of the Fire Protection District Act until trustee Martin Fairchild brought it up. You know, I believe nobody did mention it to him. The failure's sitting right there in the center of this room with his head down, acting as if nothing ever happened. He was given good sound legal advice. My hat's off to the attorney. Unfortunately, he didn't share it. And then he lied to the state police about it. Archer does not believe anyone on the board knew it was a violation of the Fire Protection District Act prior to the March 20th meeting because no one on the board ever brought it up to him. Well, we know that's not true as far as whether anybody on the board knew, because we know at least one person knew. Don't we, Mr. Riggs? He says he does not make a commission on sales. Well, you know what, from a sales standpoint, probably don't make a commission, but I didn't notice it. You know, he didn't talk about doesn't make a profit on the sales. And I'm all for free enterprise within the limitations of the law. You've cut him off, and if that's what y'all want to do, that's fine, but he can still legally do business. AEC has provided tons of no-cost service to the department. That's great. That's great community service. I'm all for that. Archer stated the prices AEC is selling equipment to the Rochester Fire District are better than prices they could get anywhere else. Well, I did my own request for prices and quotes, and I found that not to be true. The last statement, the Rochester Fire District's going to have to spend a lot of money now that they are not doing business with AEC.
Mr. Allen, you have exceeded the 5-minute time limit for participation. You're reading on and on. You're not asking us a question.
I've asked you several, and you've not even acknowledged me. You've had your head down writing the whole time. Are you telling me you would answer questions if I asked them now?
No.
Then why make the statement?
Submit questions to us. We'll provide an answer back to you.
You will? You will. Is that a yes?
Mm-hmm.
You nodded. I just want to make sure it's on the record that you will answer questions if I submit them.
Yep.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Next.
Yes, I'd like to know, the third Monday of May going to be when it's as stated in the statute for Karen to be seated?
Say that again.
The third Monday in May.
Third Monday in May is when the new trustees get seated.
Okay.
Anything else? Yes, Karen.
I didn't want to make sure, because I'm still working full-time, so I need to be here May 16th on that Monday. I just need to arrange my schedule accordingly is all.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have to call a special meeting for that.
That's fine, my May schedule's already laid out, so. I don't
Okay. Anything else? This time, I'd like to entertain a motion for a closed session for review of closed meeting minutes in accordance with 5 ILCS 120/2C21 and the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the district in accordance with 5 ILCS 120/2C1.
I'll make the motion.
And I will second it.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We'll adjourn to closed session.
Okay, and the time, please.
6:10.
Do you know approximately how long you're going to be in there?
Pardon me?
Do you know approximately how long you'll be in closed session?
No, I don't. We've got 2 items to work on.